Welcome to this explainer. You know, when a geopolitical crisis hits, the sheer unpredictability of a sudden war declaration is literally terrifying. The noise, the panic, the immediate scramble for basic safety and truth, it's pure chaos. In those first few critical hours, knowing exactly who to call and what to say can absolutely be the difference between life and death. Today, we're unpacking how professionals are using AI to cut through that noise, instantly generating high-stakes survival and communication blueprints right from the front lines. Now, what's really fascinating here is our source material. This is an actual query fed into Google's Gemini AI. The user asked a stark, highly urgent question: how do you contact international services if a nation-state declares war against a group of people? And the output? It's incredible. Instead of panicking or spitting out vague platitudes, the AI immediately organizes the chaos into clear, actionable steps. It's a perfect example of how Gemini helps pros, whether we're talking about journalists, NGO workers, or stranded diplomats, instantly formulate a structured game plan when the unthinkable happens. Today, we're breaking this AI-generated playbook down into 5 critical phases. 1. When conflict erupts. 2. Immediate humanitarian contacts. 3. Reaching global media. 4. Preparing your message. And 5. Staying safe and credible. Okay, phase 1. When conflict erupts. Let's look at the very first piece of advice this AI protocol establishes. Gemini hits the nail on the head right away with a crucial caveat. Context is everything. Before you do anything else, you have to assess your specific reality. Are you a foreign national or a local citizen? Are you near a border or stuck in a capital city? Your location and nationality absolutely dictate your literal next moves. I mean, a strategy for a foreign correspondent with a diplomatic passport is going to look totally different from what a local human rights worker needs. The AI grounds the user in this fundamental reality first. Moving right along to phase 2, immediate humanitarian contacts.
Once you've figured out your immediate context, the playbook rapidly lists your absolute primary lifelines, what we can call the Big Four. First, your country's embassy or consulate. Second, the International Committee of the Red Cross, or ICRC. Third, the UN. And fourth, human rights organizations, specifically citing groups like Amnesty International. If you're a professional navigating a newly declared war zone, these aren't just polite suggestions. This is your core directory for survival and support.
And this brings up a brilliantly key distinction that pros on the ground need to grasp instantly: diplomatic versus humanitarian action. Think of it like this. Embassies and the UN handle diplomacy, mediation, and state-sponsored evacuation. They're your political lifelines. But the ICRC and human rights groups, they focus on immediate physical survival, medical care, and documenting human rights abuses. You contact the first group to get out or get diplomatic cover, and you contact the second group to survive the day and ensure atrocities are actually recorded. All right, phase 3, reaching global media. Once physical safety is somewhat addressed, it's time to pivot to amplification. The AI doesn't just vaguely say, call the news. It provides a targeted hit list of international media titans that actually have the infrastructure to cover global conflicts. Notice who's at the top: Reuters, AP, and AFP. These are the major wire services feeding the rest of the world's outlets. Then you've got the major broadcasters and publications like Al Jazeera, BBC, CNN, and the New York Times. For a pro trying to blast a message out of a blackout zone, Gemini provides a definitive, prioritized starting point for outreach. But as you can imagine, just having a list of names isn't going to cut it. How do you effectively reach out to these massive organizations during a frantic crisis? That brings us to phase 4, preparing your message. Let's see how this builds into an actual strategy. Gemini lays out a meticulous, step-by-step professional methodology here. Step 1, locate the dedicated news tips sections or secure online forms. Step 2, rigorously organize your data. And step 3, execute the outreach, making it crystal clear why your information is uniquely newsworthy. It's all about being effective, not just loud. That second step is absolutely the critical part of this phase. If you want a global news desk to listen to you amidst the chaos, you have to compile hard data. The AI advises grabbing the absolute essentials: who declared war, the stated reasons, and most importantly, the tangible impact on civilians. You've got to attach verifiable evidence like photos or testimonies and clearly leave your contact info for interviews. You're essentially doing the advanced work of a field producer. And we can't forget the digital frontline. The playbook reminds us that traditional outreach isn't the only way. By using strategic hashtags and tagging relevant journalists directly on social media, you are bypassing traditional gatekeepers and creating a public, undeniable trail of evidence. It's a fantastic dual-pronged attack: formal institutional outreach paired with public digital pressure. Let's move to the final phase, phase 5, staying safe and credible. Because honestly, getting the message out means absolutely nothing if you compromise the truth, or worse, your life. Gemini outlines what we can essentially call the golden rules of outreach. First up, be persistent. Newsrooms are flooded with thousands of tips during a war declaration, so you can't be discouraged if you don't hear back immediately. But second, and infinitely more importantly, you must be credible. Provide accurate information and transparent sources. Misinformation in a conflict zone can literally be deadly. Credibility is a professional's only true currency.
But the absolute most crucial point is this quote right here: protect yourself. Your personal safety and identity completely supersede any media outreach you might attempt. The AI explicitly tells users to take precautions to protect their identities. Listen, no story, no tip, and no footage is worth losing your life over. That is the ultimate bottom line for any professional operating in a hostile environment.
So why go through all this? Why take the risk? Because if executed correctly, this structured protocol achieves a massive global goal. By systematically contacting international media, you help raise awareness. You put immense public pressure on governments to actually intervene, and you can directly facilitate aid. It literally takes that horrible feeling of helplessness and transforms it into a targeted, actionable strategy. Which brings us to a final thought to walk away with today. We've seen exactly how Gemini helps pros organize a high-stakes crisis response in seconds. But if an AI assistant can hand literally anyone with a smartphone a flawless, professional-grade crisis communication blueprint, what does that mean for the future of information? Are we entering an era where any global citizen, armed with the right prompt, is empowered to act as a structured, credible frontline reporter? It's a wildly fascinating shift in how the world will document its most critical moments moving forward. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.